Hey guys, Ted Bogert here. Welcome back to Bless. I almost said bless this mess. Bless your business. I'm super excited to be co-hosting this with my dear friend, Angie Lee Aki. She is with Ohana Investment Partners. And every week we are trying to bring you our insights, maybe some upcoming guests, but really giving you tools and tricks of the things that we do so that you can bless your business and hopefully be a blessing to others. Welcome, Angie. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thanks again for having me, Ted. Hopefully you're doing well.
I am doing great, and I hope you are too. I know you have a lot going on. I can even see your thing. Your background says Moxie and Money, which we'll talk about toward the end of the show today. But tell them just a little bit about you. Every week, it's really good for people to get to know who you are in case they're tuning in for the first time.
I am the owner and founder of Ohana Investment Partners. I have 3 verticals under that business and that brand. One is I help people passively invest in real estate through real estate syndications. So you can invest in apartments and short-term rental funds and various sundry commercial real estate ways through syndications. And it is 100% passive. So if you have not explored that, I highly recommend you do. The other vertical within Ohana Investment Partners is the Employee Retention Payroll Tax Credit. That is a payroll tax credit for small businesses that have between 1 and 500 employees that experience some negative effect during COVID, either a full or partial shutdown or a decrease in gross receipts. And I've been able to work with businesses throughout Florida to get well over $3 million thus far. So if you're a business owner and you haven't determined whether or not you're eligible, now is the time.
Yes.
Take less than 10 minutes. The third vertical within Ohana Investment Partners is Moxie and Money, and that's my women's empowerment vertical. So I am hosting a live event at the Citrus Club on Friday, September 29th. It's Moxie and Money, women taking control of their life and their future. And I have speakers coming in. It's going to be a great event. We're going to you're going to sit at different tables throughout the event. You're going to meet new women as you circulate around. It's going to be a great time. You're going to leave with a lot of information. You're going to leave with actionable items and a new network of amazing women in Orlando.
I love it. So you've got yours down to a science. 3 verticals. You know what to say. That's because you speak with passion. So it is probably easier for you to talk about it since you're so passionate about all 3 verticals. So this is the joy of this show is we get to share some of the things that we do, some of the resources that we have. And this week we're going to talk about marketing. And I think it's interesting. Before we went live, we were talking a little bit about you do marketing. You're an in-person. You like the face-to-face. And yet some people, it's all social media. Some people are still all email. I know that because we were just talking about emails before we went live too, and I've got 4 billion of them. And I don't want to unsubscribe, but you understand everybody's different. Everybody's got a different approach on what they want. I think the issue is, and one of the things I want to talk about is that we continue to do what we know. And if the results aren't good, we still continue to do what we know. And so we don't want to branch out, or we're afraid. I've had people say, well, I couldn't be on social media like you all the time. And I always say to them, you don't have to be. There's just a consistency that you have to figure out. And if that's 1 time a day, that is better than no times a day. But you have to be purposeful and intentional. So let's talk about the in-person first, though, and then we'll talk about social media. Tell us about your approach to marketing.
So I love connections and community. And that's what, I mean, under Ohana Investment Partners, that's what I'm building, a community of passive investors, a community of women in business and female entrepreneurs, and a community of small business owners. So everything that I'm building is based on community. And some of that does take place via Zoom, right, or virtually, and it has to, and that's okay. But where I thrive is face-to-face and in person. And when you look at, you always have to look at what you're good at and what your strengths are and run with that. That's my strength. I love meeting with people. And that's what, I mean, when I was in corporate America, I've been in sales for well over 20 years. Most of it was business to business sales. I was door knocking. I was meeting with people face to face. I was shaking hands and kissing babies and having Cuban coffee in Miami at 3 o'clock at Jackson Memorial. That's one of my favorite memories of pharma sales. But it was all in person. And so that's what I got used to. That's what I like. That's what I thrive on. And when I notice too, when I meet with people and when I connect with people in person, it leaves me so fulfilled and my heart is full. I get energized and pumped up. And so it's what works really well for me. I love going to networking events. I love meeting new people. I love people in general. So that's what works for me. And that's what I'm creating also, because there's gaps where there's not enough of that. So I'm building what isn't there.
You're building it. You're making it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, there'll be people I know that say, because they say it to me all the time, I couldn't be everywhere you are, Ted, or I would be exhausted if I did all of the events you do. And I always tell them, you think I'm not exhausted? I mean, it's energizing, but depleting at the same time. You have to have a balance. What do you say to people who, or can you give some tips or some ideas, and we can talk back and forth on this. Somebody who maybe doesn't have a big sphere, so they don't even know what networking to go to. Maybe they're going to walk into a room and they're going to know no one. They're not going to have a point of reference. They're just going to have seen an event on Eventbrite or Meetup or Facebook and go, that looks interesting to me. How do they begin to approach, especially, I don't know if you're an extrovert. I mean, I assume you are, but I'm an extrovert. It's not easy for people who are not extroverted. So maybe give us some tips or some ideas.
I get it. Yes, it's not as easy for an introvert. I am an extrovert, but I have to take the time to recharge. So I'm kind of a hybrid. So I can't be out all the time. I have to come back. I have to plug in and recharge. But if you're an introvert and you're walking into a networking event, then, you can often, whoever is hosting it, if you find that person that's hosting it and you introduce yourself, then they will typically introduce you to someone in the room, right? Because they want you to have a good experience and kind of sneak peek as to what's coming. There's more amazing things coming for Moxie and Money rolling out, and also for Ohana Investment Partners as far as events. And one of the things I'm putting together within these smaller events is when someone comes in, they will be walked over and introduced to someone else, because it does help the introvert population. And not everyone is maybe like Ted and I, right? Not everyone wants to go out and network and thrives on it. But the question is to Ted and I, how do we help people that need that help? And I'll often see people in a networking event and they're in the corner, and I'll go grab them or say, hey, come join us, because I am the person that will butt into conversations and say, hey, excuse me, my name's Angie, and I'll start talking. But if you find the host of that event, that's a really great way to get introduced to other people. And then otherwise, if you're at an event, find a group of people that you can kind of scan the room, right? And I feed off energy, so I can scan the room and get pretty good energy off people. So find someone you're getting good energy off of. Find someone, if you're like, oh man, they have a nice dress that's really pretty. That's how I ended up talking to some woman for 30 minutes at an event recently. I walked up to her and I truly liked her dress. I went, oh, your dress is awesome. It was bright colored. It was funky. I loved it. And I'm like, I just have to tell you, that's an amazing dress. And we just started chatting. So you don't have to lead with business. It could just be, maybe it's a group of women, right? Maybe for Ted, it's a group of guys that are wearing totally awesome jackets. And he's like, hey, you're my people, right? So
you vibe toward them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Find someone that you think that you have something in common with.
And it can be hard, right? In a room, and we get that. But like people, the lady that you talk to with it, that's what I get all the time. People will come up to me because of what I'm wearing and strike up a conversation. So you kind of have to feel where your comfort zone is. I think if you're a woman, if you are more comfortable speaking with women, you do have to kind of feed off the energy and kind of feel it. I also want to encourage you to not, when you're at a networking event, the best way to, when you're talking to people, I'll give you my thought process on that, because a lot of people go to networking events outward, go market out there, Ted. All I have is a stack of business cards and they've gone nowhere. One of my pet peeves, and I teach this in one of my classes, is please don't lead with your business card. I want you to lead with an introduction, and I want you to tell me about what you do. But if you throw your business card at me before you've even gotten to know me or don't ask me anything about myself, then I'm pretty much turned off. And I think that happens a lot because people are only comfortable in that little 30-second elevator speech they've practiced. And what I would encourage you to is ask real human questions. Hey, what do you think of this event? Hey, what do you do? You can introduce yourself, but by immediately leading with business, you're not going to have that beautiful conversation like Angie had with the lady in the bright dress. And I think people are just taught to be so business forward that they forget the human side, and that's where the connection's made.
That's true, because it's all in relationships. When, you know, and I'm working with a mentor, and as we launch out everything that's coming for Moxie and Money, so she's helping me, but everything is, it's all based around relationships. When people show up to your events, it's around relationships because you've connected with them in some capacity, or they know, like, and trust you, right? Ted and I are doing this together because we built a relationship. We didn't lead with business.
Correct.
You know, so it's based on relationships, and you can build those relationships, and it does not have to be in person. So, I mean, we can talk about other marketing strategies as well, because I know.
Talk about social media.
Yeah.
What's your thought? How do you, are you a big social media person? Do you utilize it? How do you feel about social media as far as blessing your business?
I feel like it's a double-edged sword. I'm trying to choose my words wisely, right? I feel like it's a double-edged sword because I see the value of it, and I need it as my business, and but I'm trying to be more intentional with it. So instead of just posting to post, I think I froze there for a moment.
No, you're good.
Am I unfrozen now? Okay. Okay. Instead of posting to post, what I'm doing is trying to be more intentional and using my own voice so people get to know me. Instead of it just being, you know, something back in the day, I used to have a virtual assistant put together my posts, right? Those days are gone. Really, you need to use your own voice. You need to because that's how people get to know you. And until they know you, they're not going to want to do business with you. So whether it's posting about your family or what you're doing on the weekend, or just saying, I mean, you know, it's, and this is something I learned from my mentor, and this was really insightful. She's like, it doesn't matter if you post every day, but post when you feel like it. Post when you feel like you have something to say, because your voice will come out, and it'll do two things. It'll resonate with people and pull them towards you, and it will repel people as well. But it will repel the people that are not your people. So that's okay. And so I've been trying to be more intentional about that. I've been more intentional about the groups that I'm in, you know, and connecting with people, and then taking that connection from a group to a DM to offline. And so you have to be really intentional on how you do it. I know a lot of people focus a lot of time and effort on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I see the value, but it's not, I don't see the personal, like, I don't see people as much. I don't get their heart and their personality as much. So I'm still working through that.
Well, for you, that's not, and because LinkedIn's the one that everybody says is the professional social media. But I'm of the same belief that you are, that you have to find the platform you're most comfortable with. And it can be one. If you just want to focus on one to get going, I suggest you do that. If you're my age, it's probably Facebook.
Me too.
And so that is where I built it. That's where I learned it. It's just, it's more natural and easier for me, that particular platform. But I think people get caught up in the algorithm, or we both sort of work in the real estate space, and realtors will post all of their stuff about houses, and then you have no idea what their personality is. It's an interesting mix because you're taught to post those things because everyone else is posting. And that's the one thing I'd love for you to take away on the social media. Don't worry about what everyone else is posting. Post, like Angie said, what's authentic to you, what's real to you, what matters to you when you feel like posting it. And that will generate things the way that they're supposed to be. It'll be a natural growth. It'll be a natural following. We spend way too much time going, well, that person posted that, I better post mine now. Right. And that's just not the way it works. That's not, social media is not supposed to be fake book. It's supposed to be really you, and it's supposed to be authentically representing you.
Well, and what's so funny is I post a lot. A lot of the people that I resonate with are mompreneurs, right? So they're running a family, they're running a business, they're running around like crazy. And so I post a lot. If we do ice cream sundaes. So I'll put reels out there and I'm like, guess what ice cream we're making? And I swear that's usually my best viewed and commented reel. People truly, like, I believe people truly care what kind of ice cream we're making. Now, when I post about other stuff, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if they care. But when I get to the ice cream post, when it comes Sunday, they're like, oh yeah. And I have pictures from cooking the other week. I cooked all day. So that's going in a reel, right? And it's resonating and it's bringing your personality out. And it's also being real. And instead of being everything's perfect, right? If you have a really crummy day, maybe you just say, I've had a really crummy day. Has anyone else had a crummy day? Or what do you do to overcome that? And get people, you know, engaging and connecting with you, because you can take that to a different level. So.
You can. And if you're not the networking type and you prefer social media because you're a desktop person or a laptop or phone person, my suggestion to you is to create your own group. I have been really successful in attracting whatever that tribe is by a group that I want to create. And I have been able to access more people, and I have been able to, that's my alarm. I don't know why. I have been able to grow that organically because of the posts and the things that I do. But I was the one who was able to create that. So there's so many groups you can get lost in, private, public. Can I post here? Does anybody even see it when I post here? So if you like to post and you like to engage on social media, I suggest you create a group with a topic and with a feel and with a message, and then grow that group. And so
that's a great idea.
I think social media is just, it can be as powerful as you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be the end all to end all. And I don't want people to leave feeling bad because they don't post the same as John up the street or their coworker, Jill. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. It should be about you.
It should be. I mean, today I posted, I need restaurants to host events in. So by the way, if you have restaurants with private spaces that I can host events in, put them in the comments, please, because I need recommendations. But I posted about that today. I truly need help. And I want to give business to local businesses. So, yes. And people want, it's amazing. People want to help. So I've gotten a lot of responses, and it's fun connecting with people over stuff like that. So it doesn't always have to be, oh, this is my business, this is what I want you to do for me, right? You can ask for help. And people, those are probably some of the other posts I get the most responses for. Hey guys, I need help with XYZ. Yes. Everyone wants to help. So
it's true.
Put something out there like that, put out questions. But so what other ways do you market, Ted? Is it primarily in person?
I would say it's those two are, in person is my favorite. I like to break bread, whatever that means, and really be I love one-on-one. The way to get to one-on-one, I find, is to, and my dog might bark in a minute, just so you all know. The way to get to one-on-one for me is the networking. It's kind of this interesting progression. So I go to networking events and I get to see and talk to a bunch of people. And then when I make the connection and make a concerted effort to make the connection. Then I follow up to set a one-on-one, because it's very hard to get to know somebody in a giant networking group, but it's a good place to make that initial touch, that initial contact. And I feel like breaking bread, I spend most of my days in back-to-back one-on-one meetings, either in person. I'll do Zoom if I have to, but I really, really, really prefer to be in front of someone, because you can read body language. You can hear intonation better of their voices. You can get a real feel for where they're at. And then you can kind of build your message around that and try to build the relationship around that. I just think the one-on-ones to me are everything.
Well, and then you leave, right? You leave getting to know that person. And I'm a hugger, so I'm like, oh, right. It's different. You do, and there is something mentally that happens when you do break bread with someone. So, whether you're having coffee with them or eating with them or something, there's a communal feel back to the community. And so it does tie you to that person in a way mentally, which is great, because that's what we want. We all want connections.
We all want those.
I didn't do this last week, but I have to look, because I wanted to say, and I'm going to look over this. I want to say 80%. I don't know if I gave you this quote last week, but it's important. So 80% of happiness comes from human connection. That's a ton. So get out there and talk to people. And you can have human connection over social media if that's how you roll, but get human connection and connect. And if you're marketing your business in a way that Ted and I didn't talk, you can bless our business too. That's okay.
Yes. Put it in the comments.
Yeah. What are you doing? Put it in the comments. Share what you're doing.
And we're going to do more of this. And I think we've got a couple of guests coming up. We've got, the whole point is for us to talk about what we do in our businesses, but to learn from you all. And I think that's the whole premise behind it, is to bless your business, but that includes ours too, because I'm an old dog, and believe it or not, can learn new tricks all the time. And I welcome those. I think it's good for me to get outside of my little area that I do things in. I'm always telling other people to do it. And I think it's really important, because you can really get stuck in a rut. And then all of a sudden you're 6-7 months in, your productivity's down, or it's flat, and you can't figure out why. And it's because you've been doing the same thing over and over again, and it has not gotten you the results that you want. And so the marketing, find your niche, find what you're good at. And if you're afraid of networking, reach out to me, reach out to Angie. We have plenty of events, and we will invite you to the event, and you can hang and get introduced.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
Yeah. So do I. Please let me know if you're an introvert, and even if it's not my event and you see me at an event, now you know what I look like, right? So if you see me at an event and you're an introvert, you can feel free to come up to me and say, hey, you said I could come up to you. Can you help me? Or, hey, I'm an introvert, or whatever you want to say. Just come up to me. I will introduce you to people. I will bring you with me. We will have conversation at tables. We can travel together through the room. Whatever we need to do to get you comfortable, that's okay. Because that's raising your hand and saying, hey, I need help. And remember, people want to help. So Ted and I want to help you just as much as you that are watching this. Please help us and share other marketing ideas that we didn't talk about that may be great and we may want to try.
Absolutely. All right. Tell them about Moxie and Money. Give them the details as we wrap up again, because I want people to know about this awesome event that you have coming up.
So Moxie and Money is an all-day women's event. It's at the Citrus Club on September 29th. It's going to be a kick-ass event. So please come. It's women taking control of their life and their future. We're going to talk about owning your dream. We're going to talk about building your box of requirements to set you up for success. We're going to talk about rewriting your money story and creating passive income streams. And then there's a VIP if you would like to add it on for wine tasting. So it's going to be an awesome event. It's going to have a rotating table format. So you'll sit with a new group of women for each topic. So you will meet 45 new women by the end of the day that you didn't know when you walked in the door. And if you're an introvert, I've done the work for you. So you don't have to go out and meet those people. I have you moving tables. So you're good to go. And a portion of the proceeds go to a New Image Youth Center. And they are an amazing organization that serve the families in Paramore. And if you don't know much about them, please check out, you can check out my website for more information on the event itself, and also on New Image Youth Center. You can go to ohanainvestmentpartners.com/events/women, and that will get you there.
That's awesome. And I've got a whole bunch coming up too. September 12th kicks it off. I've got one. I would love for you guys to go to Linktree. My little thing is scrolling across the bottom there, but if you just pull up Linktree and search my name, you'll see all my crazy world there. I would love for you guys to show up if there's an event you're interested in, and I've got it on my Linktree. Just message me, text me, email me. I don't know, skywrite me if you need to, if that's your preference. But yeah, exactly. Reach out, because I want you to get involved and I want you to do something different so that you can grow. It's really the only way to grow, is to do things, try new things if your current way isn't working. Now, if you're sitting back on a whole bunch of cash and don't want to listen to me, well, God bless you, and I wish you the best. But most of us could use a few tips and tricks here and there. Angie, you're a joy. What a joy to have you on every week. This is Bless Your Business, and that is our whole point here, is to bless your business. Thank you, Angie, so much. We'll see you guys. So much. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget Moxie and Money. Moxie and Money. We'll see you guys.
And Ted's Linktree.
That's right. Ted's Linktree.
Always Ted's Linktree.
That's right. Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.